Hi, I'm Emily Snell and I'm a second year student at the University of Brighton studying English Language and Media. For this module, I was successful in applying for a placement as a social media assistant at the BFBS. BFBS are the British Forces Broadcasting Service and they provide radio and television programmes for the armed forces and their dependents worldwide. The reason I applied for this placement was because I felt it was most relevant to the career path that I'm interested in and therefore would be most beneficial to my future. Completing my placement as a social media assistant definitely helped me confirm the areas of the media industry that I would like to work in, as well as helping me learn the roles that I'm less comfortable in, but I'll discuss this further later. So, what did I want to gain from my placement? Firstly, I wanted to learn. I thought placement was a perfect way to learn new skills as I worked, whilst also gaining some first-hand experience from professionals into the media industry. I also thought this was a good opportunity to learn which areas of the media industry I was interested and enjoyed working in. Secondly, I was interested in observing the way that these professionals worked on a day-to-day basis. I had never experienced working in a professional environment such as this, so I felt that watching the way they communicate and work together would be beneficial as well as just interesting. Thirdly, I wanted to develop my skills. Working in social media was something I was already confident in, but I knew that I didn't have any professional and personal experience in this industry. I felt by taking this placement I would be able to work on my skills in this industry and hopefully use them in my future once I finish university. After securing my placement, I had a welcome chat Teams call with Adam, who's in charge of the social media team at the BFBS. Adam explained to me that I would work as a social media producer alongside the social media team, and we also discussed my confidence using TikTok as an app because the brand's TikTok strategy would be one of my main tasks during the placement. Adam also explained to me that by the end of the 2 weeks placement, I'd be writing a piece for the BFBS creative website and producing social videos from my perspective called What Brands Are Doing Wrong on TikTok. Initially, I was apprehensive about the idea of writing for the website as it's not an area that I'm experienced or confident in, so prior to the start of my placement, I tried to prepare for this. I did some research on brand strategies on TikTok and what was successful and unsuccessful. This meant that by the time I actually began my placement, I felt prepared to begin planning my final piece. Adam also mentioned that there would be certain software that I would need to be confident in using before I started my placement, which was like Creative Cloud. So I downloaded these and had a go at them before I started. One of the tasks I was set was to create a few Instagram reels on Instagram hacks for the BFBS Creative Instagram. Jackie, who's part of the social media team at BFBS, showed me some examples of ones that she liked, so I used these for inspiration. I used TikTok to edit these as it was a platform I was comfortable with using, but on reflection I wish I challenged myself by using a software such as Creative Cloud maybe that I'm less confident using. However, by using TikTok to edit these reels, I do think I appeal to a younger generation, as the main demographic on TikTok is 16 to 24-year-olds, so they would recognise this editing style. Appealing to a younger demographic is something that BFBS told me they wanted to work on as a brand, and something Adam initially asked my advice on. Being confident when given any amount of creative freedom is definitely something that I struggled with before my placement. After Jackie told me that she was very pleased with the videos that I'd created, I definitely felt much more confident in my creativity and capable of making decisions without guidance. Obviously, due to Corona, we had to complete our placements online. Initially, I was disheartened about this as I was looking forward to being practical within my placement, and I feared that completing my placement online wouldn't give me the same experience. Me and Adam discussed this, and he offered to give me and Alex, the person I was doing my placement alongside, some team sessions to teach us some skills. We had a session on how to structure a communications campaign, where Adam taught us the Oasis structure. I found this session beneficial, and after completing my placement, I don't actually feel like I missed out on much by completing it online rather than do it in person like I thought I was going to. After this session, Adam challenged me and Alex to create our own communications campaign for employers to encourage their employees to stop smoking. I think before my placement, I would have struggled to confidently work on a task with somebody I didn't know before, as I often found the thought of disagreeing with someone's ideas or suggesting my own ideas instead rather intimidating. However, after working with Alex on this campaign, I don't feel like this anymore. I think me and Alex both worked extremely well together on this task and in the end produced a campaign that he and I were both happy with. We presented our campaign to Adam, who was also pleased with our end result and gave us some constructive criticism. I think this experience has also made me better at receiving feedback, as before this, I often took constructive criticism as a bad thing rather than something to work on. For my final piece, What Brands Are Doing Wrong on TikTok, I had to create a piece for the BFBS website and also a video for their YouTube. I spent the first week of my placement researching for this and learnt what was successful and unsuccessful for brands on TikTok. As I mentioned earlier, I was apprehensive about writing a piece for the BFBS website, as one, I felt like it was a lot of pressure to write for an already established website, and two, writing for a website is not a style of writing that I'm comfortable or familiar with doing. I decided to record the YouTube video first, as I thought it would be easier and therefore take me less time. I wrote out bullet points of what I wanted to say and then started to record the video. It took me a few attempts, but overall I found it quite an easy task. However, once it came to writing the website piece, I definitely struggled a little bit more. As I mentioned earlier, the style of writing for a website was alien to me, and I was often left questioning if my style of writing was too academic and formal, like I was writing an essay. Up until this point in the placement, I hadn't really asked many questions, as that is something that I struggle with. I found that before placement, asking questions often made me feel annoying or like I should know the answer, so I usually just avoid doing it. However, questions were very welcome during the placement, and I was never made to feel annoying or uneducated, so it's definitely helped my fear. Overall, I was happy with both my YouTube video and my website piece, and I found this task extremely beneficial to me. My placement at BFBS as a social media assistant helped me develop personally and professionally. I learned that I'm much more comfortable working practically, using skills within social media such as video editing rather than writing content for social media platforms. I think I was definitely successful in completing the objectives I set for myself at the beginning of the placement. I definitely learned a lot in many ways. I also got the opportunity to observe the way the professionals work and communicate in a professional environment. And finally, I definitely developed skills that I had previous to this placement. I feel like personally I developed in a lot of ways due to my placement at BFBS. I think one, I'm definitely more confident working with people that I don't know now. Before my placement, it was something that I struggled with a lot, was working confidently with people that I'd never met before. But I think after my time at BFBS, I'm definitely more comfortable doing this. I think the second way that I developed personally after my time at BFBS is I'm now much more comfortable asking questions in a professional environment. And I think the third way that I developed personally after my time at BFBS is I'm now more confident within my own creative freedom. Before my placement, whenever somebody would ask me to do something and give me creative freedom, I'd be nervous that I wasn't going to complete it up to their standard. But after my time here and the praise that I got from my work, I'm definitely more confident now. I also feel like I developed my professional skills through the placement. Number one, I think I definitely now have a more varied and adaptable writing style, specifically due to the piece that I had to write for the website. I think number two, I'm definitely now able to structure a communications campaign due to the session that I had with Adam. Number three, I now have basic YouTube and social media editing skills. I had to edit for the YouTube video that I did for my final piece, and I also had to edit the Instagram reels that were posted on the Instagram. And number four, I'm now able to communicate with co-workers better than I think I would have before the placement. On the last day of my placement, I had a final Teams call where we discussed the past 2 weeks, but also discussed how I was going to continue to learn and develop my skills after this placement. We agreed that over the summer, I would further this work experience by possibly running the social media for my part-time job. This would help me practice skills that I had learned at the BFBS and also be another achievement that I could put on my CV. We also discussed the idea of me getting into contact with small businesses or charities and offering to run their social media for them for free to continue to develop my skills. Adam, who worked at the BFBS, also studied at the University of Brighton and is originally from very near to where I'm originally from. Adam gave me a lot of useful advice from his experience getting into and working in the media industry, which I also found extremely beneficial.